Okay, remember that they're changing my voice. So this video is about why I decided to make so many videos, why I decided to make a lot of videos criticizing America. I made a significant amount of videos criticizing Israel, but that has nowhere near been the central focus of my videos, not even close. Well, first of all, I want you to realize that I'm somebody who's been cheated more than anyone who's ever lived. And I don't let that cloud my judgment. I focus on doing God justice and doing my position justice. God set me apart as the top martial artist ever possible. And when it comes to reality, right, the reality of the situation, I deal in reality, not in some kind of fantasy. That means that I'm the most important person that ever lived. The most important king, leader, martial artist, romantic person, man, human being, what have you. And I'm not saying this out of some kind of cockiness or something. These are the facts here. I'm also someone who's so romantic that I should have been married by 18 years old. Pretty soon, if I'm still alive, and hopefully I won't be, because people are acting in ways that are very disgraceful, and it's painful to see people failing to man up if they're males, and to be women if they're women, right? To be a woman if they're female. But if I'm still alive soon, I'll be 45 years old, and I'll never have been married. And I've tried to talk to people on the internet, for example, a whole lot, in person. I have videos where you see me trying to talk to people in person, and none of them were worthy to marry me, okay? It's almost like they knew that, and that was the problem, and they were trying to defend themselves or something, but they didn't necessarily think that I'm trying to talk to them on a romantic level. But when a good-looking male who's a stranger tries to talk to you, and he looks like he's kind of hasn't been on a date for a while, I think that, and it looks like someone who's very much a man, they probably kind of read between the lines a little bit, and some put that together. But I was just looking for people to interview, but at the same time, some of these women were attractive, and they made it clear to me that they chose being a gang stalker for the government, things like this, instead of kind of opening their heart to be loyal to God, to be uncontrolled opposition and face the government, what have you. And that's just what I got on camera, right? There's other attempts I've made over the years. I've been on the internet since I was like 12 years old. And so to make the argument that the problem is I don't try to talk to women enough is outrageous. At one point I had a picture up on my kind of Facebook profile that was the most handsome picture ever taken with a universal scale. You could just see the righteousness in it. I've never seen anything like it. Okay, except for me on camera or something like this. And I'm not a cocky person. I look at things logically, right? So logically speaking, most females, for example, prefer Brad Pitt to Fat Bastard from Austin Powers back in the day, right? So I make these kind of logical assessments. I compare things. So that guy looks pretty. That guy looks kind of grimy. That guy looks like a player. He looks like a coward. He looks like this. He looks like that, right? Using kind of characteristics, like in The Little Mermaid, right? Ariel is supposed to look better than Ursula, and so you kind of put these things together over the years, and we kind of look at who the competition are, and with a realistic sense of myself, with no counter argument, the opposition view has never presented a picture that is more handsome than that picture. It's pretty conclusive there, as strange as that is, as cocky seeming as that might seem. That's actually the situation. And so as I'm assessing people as the top martial artists and saying, why are they responding to me the way they are, I'm forced to the conclusion that they're just very, very stupid when it comes to life intelligence, making decisions relative to how you should live your life, right? Existential intelligence, why they're here, intrapersonal, interpersonal, understanding themselves and others, understanding how things relate in nature. Okay, they're concrete jungle brainwashed, or they're basic indigenous, they're this, they're that, they just don't understand. And they've chosen to conform. And I've never met a female who has a profound and deep understanding of love or dating, and this is because of the poor leadership in the governing class. Now, this video isn't about insulting them. It's about helping you understand why I'm criticizing these people. This is my divine duty, and on top of that, they had the nerve to kind of make it personal with me. They literally ordered people not to date me, and these females were dumb enough to do what they say. I mean, think about it very carefully here. If the government tells you not to date the top martial artist ever possible, whether you identify him as such, you know there's something about him that's profound and divine, and your argument is that that means that you shouldn't, then you're an idiot. If your argument is that you couldn't see him in it, you couldn't see it in him, then you're an idiot. Okay? If your argument is that you're going to trust what you think you should do and not him, then you're an idiot. Okay? Brain surgeons might say to somebody, hey, this is not brain surgery. This is brain surgery. Excuse me. Brain surgeons might say to somebody, an average person, this is not brain surgery. But I'm the person who can say to brain surgeons, okay, and I'm not insulting my father, he's a brain surgeon. I'm the one who can say to brain surgeons that this is not being, you don't have to be the top martial artist ever possible to understand this. Because the highest form of intelligence, right, is expressed to the top martial artist ever possible. And I'm the one doing the analysis, the main one. Other people agree, but I'm the main one doing the analysis. And I can say with certainty that it was a big mistake for society to shun me. As I look at where they are, why we're here, I understand myself and others, and so on and so forth, and how things relate in nature, and nature in general. I can tell you that it was a huge mistake that God and I will always hold against them. On a planet of 8 billion people, that gays harass me, they try to get me to settle, Satanists doing stupid childish rituals, trying to get at me, okay? Why the corporate people saying they're expressing sexual power and kids are getting abused and people are getting raped and trafficked and all this stuff. When I look at this situation, I have no choice but to have the utmost resentment, we'll say, for humanity. And I can tell you every day there are people that deserve to cook to the extreme, who die, and they're being marshaled straight to hell. That's it. That's all she wrote. When the attractive females rejected me, it's not like, oh, you rejected some guy, some black guy from the hood or from the middle class or some rich black guy, and he'll get over it. You rejected the Son of God because you're a dumb female dog. Okay, there is no other way to look at it. That takes one stupid person. And it's infuriating that people don't raise their children better than that. There's no worse. They deserve to get slapped to death, stoned to death, flogged to death. And I'm not a violent person. I say these things because the punishment must fit the crime. If you spare the rod, ruin the child, you don't stone to death the whore, you ruin the community kind of thing. And these people think that their relationships are valid. They think their marriages are valid. And don't forget, every year that 9 million people starve to death every year. Starve to death, right? So every year 9 million people starve to death. And they're mocking me and they're causing me to stumble on my words. Right now I'm wearing a mask because they're fuming me. I live with my parents. There's a bunch of gold diggers who might call me a scrub. Can you imagine that you're such a dumb, useless, dime a dozen, basic, just foolish, ratchet soul having slut, that you would call Christ a scrub, that you would reject Christ?